A new energy race is heating up in Europe, and this time it's not just about gas. In Athens, US and European officials gathered with one clear message: cut Russia out completely. Washington says Europe must stop relying on Moscow's gas once and for all, and America is ready to fill the gap. At the Energy Summit, top US and EU officials pushed the vertical corridor, a new lifeline running from Greece throughout Bulgaria and Romania to Ukraine. It's meant to bring American LNG straight to a country under fire. The first shipments from Louisiana to Greece are already on their way to Ukraine, energy that could literally keep the lights on through another brutal winter.
This coming winter will be probably the most difficult winter since full-scale invasion. And we do everything possible to take Ukraine through this winter and to make suffering of our people less than Russians intend to do.
Volodymyr Zelensky promises more funding for Frontline Brigades. Ukraine's leader has announced a major boost in support for Ukraine's frontline troops battling in the hardest part of the war. In his evening address, he said brigades and corps on the first line of defense will receive more resources, from equipment and spare parts to modern battlefield tech. Zelensky praised units carrying out truly innovative actions, both in combat and in rescuing the wounded, and thanked everyone doing everything possible to defend Ukraine's positions and save lives. Earlier this week, Zelensky also highlighted successful Ukrainian operations near Pokrovsk in the Donetsk region, one of the most intense areas of fighting.
Government officials must also expand the military's ability to purchase necessary equipment, hardware and components. There are many questions, in particular about write-offs and decommissioning of assets. We must resolve all of these issues. We also discussed in detail the new contract-based framework of service in our army. All of this is being worked through, and there must be clear details for our warriors.
Europe on edge as Russian drones breach NATO airspace. NATO countries are on alert after a series of drone incidents exposed how vulnerable Europe remains to Russia's expanding drone war. In recent months, hostile military drones have crossed into NATO airspace and hovered near airports and military bases in Denmark, Germany, Belgium. In September, around 20 Russian drones entered Polish territory, damaging a house and forcing multi-million-dollar fighter jets to scramble just to counter drones worth of a fraction of the coast. To close those gaps, Poland and Romania are now deploying the new American-made Merop system, a lightweight anti-drone weapon tested in Ukraine. It's small enough to fit in a pickup truck and uses artificial intelligence to hunt and destroy drones, even when GPS and communications are jammed. Denmark is also joining the program. NATO officials say it's part of a larger effort to allies' entire eastern border, from Norway to Turkey, so heavily defended that Moscow would never dare to cross it. While not every incident can be directly tied to Russia, the pattern is clear. Europe is being tested, and for NATO, already stretched by the war in Ukraine, drones have become the new frontline.
The American Merop system being used in Poland and Romania is cheaper than deploying a fighter pilot and uses drones to attack drones. It's being tested in Ukraine, is small enough to fit in the back of a pickup truck, and can accurately detect drones and counter them using AI to navigate when communications are jammed.
Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban is in Washington with one goal: to back Donald Trump for a special exemption from US sanctions on Russian energy. His excuse: Hungary has no sea. Orban says his landlocked country has no choice but to keep buying Russian oil through old Soviet pipelines. But while Europe has been cutting Russian imports since the invasion of Ukraine, Hungary has done the opposite, increasing its share of Russian crude from 61 to 86%. And here's the hypocrisy. The same government that's asking Washington for mercy is blocking Ukraine's EU membership and stalling European aid to a country fighting for survival against Russia. Budapest keeps calling it energy realism, but it looks more like energy dependence and political blackmail. American senators have already warned Hungary, keep doing business with Moscow and you could face secondary sanctions too. Still, Orban is betting on his friendship with Trump, hoping that personal ties will overweight principles. Swedish Prime Minister calls on Europe to prepare for long-term isolation for Russia. Sweden's Prime Minister says Europe must face a new reality. Russia will remain isolated for years to come, even after the war in Ukraine ends. During his visit to Estonia, he emphasized that the European Union needs to strengthen its competitiveness and resilience, seeing this as the foundation of both prosperity and security across the continent. He underlined that Europe's unity and economic strength are essential not only for recovery but also for continued support to Ukraine. Sweden, Estonia and other Baltic and Nordic nations are also focusing on boosting defense cooperation and restricting Russian military activity in the Baltic Sea, an area now largely controlled by NATO. The Swedish leader's message echoes growing consensus among northern European states. Russia will remain the region's main security threat, and Europe must prepare for a long period of confrontation, not a quick return to normal relations. That's all for now. For more content, please subscribe.